If you've seen Antz the movie, you might not think a racing game is the obvious tie-in, but that's what we've got here. Your chance to prove you're the best in a field of 5 million competitors. You begin the game with a choice of 2 characters, Zed and Princess Bala. But when you've finished unlocking the additional characters, you'll also have access to Zed's friends, Azteca and Weaver, as well as a military aide, Cutter, and the master manipulator, Mandible. Each of these characters has several of their own special challenges to complete, but the main game centers on racing the various tracks, avoiding traps and collecting bonus items. And you can try straight races, slaloms and time trials, using either your driving, running, boarding or flying skills. There's never been another game that can make racing at half a mile an hour feel so fast. Inspired by The Rock's blockbuster film, The Scorpion King is an action-adventure, casting you in the role of Matthias as he journeys to exotic locations, battling a horde of enemies in order to become one of the deadly assassins known as the Arcadians. There are 12 fantastic levels to smash your way through, including everything from the island of Crete to the mysterious Netherworld. And along the way, you get to try out some fierce hand-to-hand and weapon-based combo attacks, as well as experiencing multiple power-ups for each weapon. You'll have to fight a wide range of opponents, from human adversaries, vicious animals, and the supernatural forces of Anubis. And you even get to hear the fabulous voice acting from The Rock himself. Ah well, there's always a sting in the tail. Jurassic Park Project Genesis takes a slightly different approach to the Jurassic Park license. Here you have the chance to design and manage the most amazing dinosaur theme park the world has ever seen. Or alternatively, you can battle your way through 12 intense missions, fighting to control nature's most fearsome predators. When designing parks, you have free rein to rearrange the scenery to your heart's content, and there are 25 dinosaurs presently in the ecology, all modelled as accurately as possible and including all the beasts from the movies. And it'll be your decisions that lead to an outstanding commercial success or horrible, horrible failure, and the arrival of Jeff Goldblum. In the missions, the focus is more on the tactics and rapid response you can achieve rather than the firepower. However, you're still equipped with everything from ground-based weaponry up to helicopter-mounted artillery, perfect for controlling rampaging dinosaurs or disgruntled American tourists. Disney's Stitch Experiment 626 is billed as a prequel to the upcoming Disney animated film Lilo and Stitch. At this stage, there's no sign of the elusive Lilo, but what we do have is Stitch in abundance. The story begins on a distant planet in a strange part of the universe, where the eccentric scientist Jumba has created a creature after many years of genetic research. His creation, Experiment 626, aka Stitch, is nearly impervious to all forms of attack and is capable of destruction on a global scale. Showing his lack of world-dominating instinct, Jumba utilizes Stitch's abilities to help him gather DNA from different planets to use in his ongoing genetic experiments. This is where you come in. As Stitch, the 4-armed mutant sociopath, it's up to you to navigate these hostile worlds, overcoming vicious monsters, treacherous terrain, and much more, whilst utilizing a variety of interesting tricks, such as clambering over walls and whizzing about using his jetpack. There are definite advantages to being the minion of a mad scientist. Hitman 2 Silent Assassin may be a sequel, but the original game only came out on PC. Fortunately, this means that mistakes have been learned from, and this version on PS2 should be significantly better. As 47, you're employed to remove a single target by any means you choose. Of course, shooting everything in sight is likely to make your life very difficult, and you might be wise to restrain your murderous urges to as few people as possible. After all, you are supposed to be a sharp, controlled, and dispassionate assassination machine. You can explore your surroundings fully before pulling off your hit, exercising stealth, guile and cunning to get into restricted areas. Then you can play with your range of firearms or more interesting toys such as lockpicks, disguises, chloroform, poison, darts, stun guns and a garrote. But the sniper rifle still has to remain a firm favourite. You can play in first or third person perspectives, and other new improvements include the addition of mid-mission saves and the option to carry forward your hardware as you progress through 20 worldwide missions. Sega's upcoming Ninja Extravaganza harks back to the great old days of blazing fast action and pure arcade gameplay. Shinobi is set in modern-day Tokyo, but the story begins with two young brothers competing to win a traditional and ancient sword filled with awesome and deadly powers. The catch is, the loser dies. You play Hotsuma, the brother who wins the sword, a weapon that craves and feeds on blood. And if it can't gain blood through your actions, then it'll take yours. There's a whole host of impressive ninja moves to perform, including super fast running, fantastic jumps, and even running on walls. And all these moves can be combined for even more impressive acrobatics and swordplay. And with hundreds of combos to find, Shinobi offers one of the purest arcade action experiences to be seen on PS2 for a long time. UFC Throwdown is the new sequel to PlayStation's Ultimate Fighting Championship, featuring 28 real UFC fighters and promising some of the best fighting action to be found on the PS2. The no-holds-barred fighting system allows you to string limitless combos together, as well as offering deep offensive and defensive strategies. And you can play through the extensive career mode, play tournaments between 16 or 8 players, or try out the new round-robin tournament, scaling between 6, 8 or 10 players. When creating your own fighter, you now have even more variations than before. And the character models show realistic facial and body movements, right down to the individual muscles. So it's no wonder it's looking so good. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius is making his way onto PS2, having already made his mark on Nickelodeon with his own movie from Paramount Pictures. Playing as Jimmy and his robot dog Goddard, you have 6 levels to explore through, including Jimmy's house, asteroids, Yolka's underworld and Yolka's city. And with the help of the versatile Goddard, there are many different ways to get around them. Goddard Copter, Goddard Flycycle, Goddard Scooter. Is there anything this powered pooch can't do? With his abilities and young Master Neutron's brains, there should be nothing that can stand in their way.
The god of rallying returns, bringing you the most accurate and entertaining off-road experience possible. And considering that every previous incarnation of the series has been excellent, Colin McRae Rally 3 definitely has a high standard to beat. As you can see from this gravel spraying footage, it's now possible to undertake your career in a wide range of powerful motors. And aside from the 8 standard cars, there's 4 bonus cars and 4 wondrous classics too. And in a nod towards Toka Race Driver's deeper story-based challenge, you're given an initial 3-year contract to prove you've got what it takes, as the focus is now on McRae himself, so to speak. Homing in on the driver rather than the cars, Codemasters has finally veered away from simply plonking you down at the start with a 3-second countdown. Cutscenes now add greater context to the world of rallying, such as those showing you driving to the stage start, and you'll even get to see the car in front of you make its start at the beginning of each stage, although these drivers only appear as rivals on the timesheets, as rallying is still a solitary affair. The fully modelled service areas appear too. Again, long-term access to the Ford team means it's impressively authentic, where fully animated mechanics work frantically on your car, as juggling repairs is still one of Colin McRae Rally 3's key areas. Codemasters have also got some startling new effects up their sleeve too. Just look at that rain. The team behind McRae really captured the effect with astonishing realism. It's obvious that Codemasters want their latest mud-spraying brilliance to be both fun and involving, and it's hardly a brain-draining task to assume Colin McRae 3 will fail to impress. All that remains to be seen is just how stunning the final version is.
Colin McRae Rally 3. It's what lies ahead.
Desert Storm takes us out into the Iraqi desert in the heat of the Gulf War. Controlling a 4-man infiltration squad of either the SAS or Delta Force, your task is to bring Iraq to its knees, using all the stealth and cunning you can muster. Controlling 4 men at once might seem a bit of a challenge in a third-person shooter, but it's actually done very well. You control the main character, giving orders out to other members of your squad as you go. And The AI even manages a respectable job of keeping them alive without requiring constant supervision. Then, if you should care to, you can choose to see the action through their eyes, or even completely switch your control to another character. Although this may sound complicated, there's a comprehensive tutorial which covers everything you need to know. And the first few missions are fairly forgiving, so you'll have a chance to get the hang of things without being overly penalized for any cock-ups. And should the unthinkable happen, and one of your cunning traps go horribly wrong, leaving your guys strewn across the scenery, you still have a 3-minute period in which to get to them with a medipack and save the poor sod's life. You'll really appreciate that one when you've played a few missions and their skills are improving nicely. That's not a good time to be saddled with a complete rookie. There are 15 missions in all, featuring a nice range of military toys and even the opportunity to call in airstrikes. So get ready to fight for your country, to fight for the freedom of the Kuwaiti people, and to fight for unrestricted access to all that oil.
I'm gonna hide this tape when I'm finished. If none of us make it, at least there'll be some kind of a record. The storm's been hitting us pretty hard now for 48 hours. We still have nothing to go on. One other thing. I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over. We're all very tired. There's nothing else I can do. Just wait. Ejay McRae, helicopter pilot, U.S. Outpost North 31.
Blake, you should have a look at this.
In 1982, John Carpenter remade the classic tale of The Thing and created a box office hit and a classic cult horror movie into the bargain. Now Computer Artworks have taken the license and produced a gripping single-player survival horror game, bearing all the classic hallmarks of fear, suspense, and distrust that made the film so special.
Well, Blake, just remember it's 40 below out there. We both know exposure could sneak up on you. Keep your team together and get them to shelter as quickly as you can.
Roger that. Blake out.
Set just after the point where the movie left off, a joint military effort by the Norwegians and the US has arrived at the Antarctic base to investigate the mysterious deaths of the American scientific expedition. Boy, are they in for a shock. You arrive on the scene with a team of characters who you can control in order to assist your core team of engineers, medics, and soldiers. But as the tension rises, it becomes increasingly difficult to keep a lid on the panic.
Pierce, it's Blake. It's okay. Put your weapon down.
No way. You're infected just like all the others.
I'm not.
I found a report that says the only way to prove you're not one of those things is through a blood test. Now, there's a medical kit near the kennel. You go get it and come back here, and I'll watch you do the test.
It's up to you to lead your team through force of will, coercion, or simple brute force, preventing them from turning on you if they suspect that you've been infected by the thing. Conversely, you must keep an eye on them in case one of them becomes the next enemy.
What happened here?
Something. I don't know what they were, but they attacked us. I thought they was part of the... Wait a minute. Don't you come any closer. Where the hell did you come from anyways?
The graphics and camera angles are all tuned to add to the fear, along with some very atmospheric sound effects and a
Blake,
series of cut
you come
scenes
from?
which gradually unfold the plot.
I received some partial transmissions from Pierce. It sounded like there was a problem.
And the action is cast 50% indoors and 50% outdoors, but don't stay outside for too long or you'll freeze to death. This is the Antarctic, remember?
Wake up!
The thing neatly combines action, suspense and adventure, but this time you've got a whole team to manage and watch. You're not just fighting for yourself, people's lives depend on your decisions and your actions. Motorbikes have been sorely neglected by the game's market, except for the occasional motocross outing. But Riding Spirits aims to fill that gap with the closest thing to Gran Turismo for the biking world. To get things moving, you first need to spend your meager starting funds on some leathers, a lid, and of course a bike. And the fashion conscious will be pleased to note that all the kit is authentic, coming from a range of big brand names. The range of bikes is also impressive, covering the world of biking over the last 20 years. Fans will recognise plenty of classic models, with enough variety that even the early stages of your career are great fun. There are 5 classes: 250, 400, 600, 750 and Open, with 8 bikes per class, making a total of 40 machines in all. The gameplay also closely resembles Gran Turismo, requiring you to race through increasingly tough championships to earn cash and buy better toys. And there's plenty of scope for tuning your ride as well, with the option to modify just about every aspect of your bike, including stripping off extraneous hardware such as the mirrors and indicators. There are 7 tracks, all of good length, and providing a challenge to your memory as well as your driving skills. And they can all be taken in reverse if you fancy a change. At this early stage in the development, there are still a few problems, such as scenery that can slow you down faster than your brakes, some sluggish response times, and bikes that stick frustratingly close to the ground. Hopefully, these flaws will have been corrected by release time. Immersion racing is a bold attempt to blend accurate physics, ease of use, and even a storyline. And developed by Empire's Razorworks studio with a fine history of precise helicopter sims, there should be no problem getting the physics spot on. Storylines in racing games are all the trend these days, and this is no exception. The game features an array of characters, including an advisor, a race engineer, and 10 rivals. These rivals all have their own personalities and driving styles, and their opinions of you vary depending on your actions. In this way, you can build up strong friendships or the much more likely intense rivalries. For the hardcore racers, there are plenty of tuning options, but a nice touch is the race engineer, who'll help the less experienced by tuning their cars for them. The career mode also hides another neat feature. It can be played by 2 players as well. In this way, you can take your saved games, team up with a friend for a while before going your separate ways again. You can do this as often as you like, and with as many friends as you can find. The tracks include 5 licensed circuits, as well as 5 more fictitious tracks, all of which can be attempted by night or day, and under a range of weather conditions. There are also 18 licensed cars, although disappointingly, there's to be no damage model. Total Immersion Racing seems to be doing everything right, with the possible exception of the damageless cars. But with the glut of racing games around at the moment, will it get its chance to shine? There's only one way to find out.
Don't the other teams teach you how to drive?
Fusion Race of Champions is the first rally game to let you battle it out for the Champion of Champions crown in the infamous annual end-of-season Michelin Race of Champions, where the world's top drivers compete head-to-head on Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands. There are 24 licensed cars from all the usual leading manufacturers and 12 stunning levels to thrash them over, all beautifully rendered with impressive lighting effects and subject to a host of gorgeous weather conditions. Don't worry, there's an extensively accurate collision detection system by the name of Dyne, which treats you to a real-time damage model and allows every component of the car to be damaged. pilot isn't just extra weight either. This character offers advice, screams at you when you're being reckless, and praises you when you're in the zone, all in a particularly amusing accent. There are also plenty of other game modes to keep things interesting, including rallycross, relay, hill climb, checkpoint time trials, and much more. But with over 30 professional drivers to race against, there's little chance that Rally Fusion will leave you bored. Superfly follows in the tracks of last year's MX 2002, featuring Ricky Carmichael. And it's looking pretty similar, albeit with somewhat smoother edges. As you'd expect, the career mode is the heart of the game, allowing you to create a rider and start a career in either motocross racing or freestyle. Motocross follows the usual progression from course to course, tuning your bike and unlocking new features as you go, whilst a freestyle career challenges you to compete in various events and earn money in order to advance from class to class. In order to earn your pay, you'll have to pull off stunts like bus jumping and step-up competitions, along with more wacky pastimes, such as driving from tee to hole over a golf course or delivering pizzas around a map. Not quite what you'd expect. MX Superfly is looking a bit cleaner, sounding a bit nicer, and it's even easier to get into. But is it really new enough to pay out for again? We'll let you know as soon as we find out.
Superfly.
The limbless wonder bounces back into action with a whole new adventure in Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc.
You don't need to hide, just the same.
The once happy, friendly Lums are suffering a crisis, as one of their number has become evil and quickly subverted the others into a mutant army of darkness. No longer Lums, they're now, wait for it, Hoodlums. It should be fairly obvious from that why Rayman and his pal Glowbox have no option but to head out into the world and hurt a lot of critters.
You don't need to hide. I'll get you just the same.
Despite the plot, the game itself actually looks very good. The levels have been nicely designed and move you along at a good pace without being too in your face. Rayman also has 5 new moves to ease his progress through the 44 levels and 10 worlds. There are plenty of interesting objectives and more than 20 enemies to face, each with their own strengths and weaknesses and their own tactics. And with plenty of action, some decent puzzling, and the attractive level design, it looks like he's in for a good time of it. stand aside Tony Hawk. Bart Simpson fancies a bit of that skateboarding action, as in fact do the rest of Springfield's population. The Simpsons Skateboarding sees the city of Springfield being converted into one giant skate park.
50-50 grind.
Many of Springfield's classic locations have been decked out in ramps and rails, and there are 9 of your favourite characters to put through their paces. Each character has more than 40 moves, including some signature moves unique to themselves. Unfortunately, at the moment, the levels are looking a bit sparse, leaving Bart and his friends to coast around looking for something to play on. But hopefully, things will have filled out a bit by the time the game releases. The control system is reminiscent of Tony Hawk's, although here there's the requirement to charge up rotations on a jump, making it much more difficult to do spins in the air. However, you do get the exaggerated physics common to a lot of extreme sports games, allowing for some impressive stunt combos whilst airborne.
Slide.
I'm sorry, I wasn't watching.
There are 5 game modes to try out, including Free Skate, Skate Fest, Trick Contest, Skills School, and a game of Skateboard Horse. So that just about covers everything. Oh, and then there's also the head-to-head skate-off, perfect for dueling with your friends.
Hey! I used to be an astronaut! Piece of cake!
There are plenty of hidden boards, characters, and levels to unlock as you go, with each location having its own unlockable hidden section. But we shall have to wait for the completed version to see if the Simpsons are heading for big air, or they're just going to grind to a halt.
Give it to me, baby.
As we've mentioned in previous articles, Dino Stalker must have one of the more stupid plots ever to grace PS2. So we'll gracefully gloss over that and mention the important fact that, despite the storyline, it's actually fun to play. For what it's worth, the plot sees you, a World War II pilot, running around a dinosaur-filled landscape after some sort of spatial and temporal anomaly. We did warn you, don't ask. Thankfully, the action is much simpler, requiring only that you run around the landscape, investigating wooden crates, collecting weaponry, and time bonuses while shooting dinosaurs. Don't forget to shoot the dinosaurs, that bit's important. The clock in the top right of the screen provides a countdown to the end of humanity. So if you can exterminate the dino threat by then, that would be a good idea. And to help you in this endeavour, there are plenty of fun weapons lying around in the most unlikely places, inside crates, under rocks, and even being hauled around by the dinosaurs, who presumably don't have the hands to master the use of a rocket launcher. The controls are pretty basic, with one stick to move and the other to aim, but things can become a bit tricky when trying to target on airborne opponents, and in a couple of other tight spots. Much better then to make use of the game's G-Con 2-Lite gun compatibility. The gun's fun, we like the gun. On the downside, the range of dinosaurs is sadly lacking, and they pose even less threat. Playing the game on the easy level is just a joke, and even on normal difficulty settings, it only lasts you the afternoon. But despite this, there's still a certain something that'll keep you coming back for some more hostile negotiations. Probably the fact that it's simple, quick fun with a light gun. Look as if Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights was timed to coincide with the cinema release. In fact, it's based on the original cartoon license rather than the film, which means we get the classic look, complete with original voices from the TV series and even the original soundtrack.
Hey, Daphne! I'm so glad you could make it. And you must be Freddy, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby-Doo. Wow, the whole gang!
You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby-Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back, and Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have...
As usual, those pesky kids of Mystery Inc. have been attracted to a strange, haunted manor, looking for an easy place to squat and the chance to spoil a perfectly good inheritance fraud.
If we can count on you, Scooby-Doo, I know we'll catch that feeling.
And no one will help me search the premises.
Don't tell me. Because it's haunted, right?
Yeah, Shaggy. How'd you know?
Because it's always haunted.
You get to play as Scooby-Doo himself, running around, jumping gaps, all whacked up on Scooby snacks. The characters look pretty decent, but the levels themselves don't fare so well. It's all pretty mediocre platforming fare, interspersed with some nice comedy moments with the other characters, various amusing stealth attempts, and that traditional but grating canned laughter. The sound effects are spot on, and all the dialogue sounds true to the original characters. The cameras don't manage so well, being fixed and posing a few problems when trying to retrace your steps towards them. And the controls seem a bit awkward, which can become pretty annoying whilst trying to clear some hole inconsiderately left in the middle of the floor. Fortunately, the restart locations are plentiful, so the pain isn't too great.
Gee, Scoob, it's not like they got your name all over them. Yeah, well, actually, they do. Scooby-Doo! I'm on a roll. Oh.
As you'd expect, it's a kid's game. Nice enough and perfectly playable, but with no real challenge and no real imagination. Nostalgic 80s cartoon with nostalgic 80s gameplay.
Whippy!
Far from being the lazy rehash we expected, Pac-Man's successful re-entry into the world of gaming is Namco's ability to meld everything that we remember and love about the original classic with fresh new ideas. This time, Pac-Man inhabits a fully 3D world in true Jak and Daxter fashion. And like most quality platformers, it's all about working your way through each area with a combination of well-timed jumps and plenty of coin collecting. initial generic leaping from platform to platform soon makes way for a quirkier style of play, and throughout the 18 levels on offer, you'll discover numerous references to Pac-Man's past with novelty ghost chases, mini mazes, and you'll also get to unlock some of Pac-Man's classic games of yesteryear. Surprisingly, they've aged pretty well, with the original Pac-Man still providing a stern challenge and possessing that unique ability to entice you back again and again. Unfortunately, the game never rises above mildly challenging, and the camera isn't perfect either. Although you have the ability to manually control it, there are times when you'll struggle to get a decent view of the goings-on. But overall, Namco have captured the spirit of the original, incorporating numerous traditional Pac-Man features with an impressively modern 3D world. It's not quite the brilliance of Jak and Daxter or Maximo, but it's still a quality platforming title nevertheless, if only it lasted just that little bit longer. If you fancy shooting some pool in the comfort of your own home, but can't quite stretch to your own table, then you could do worse than splash out 15 quid on International Q Club, the best in budget Qmanship from Midas. Unsurprisingly, for this price, you're not going to get the glitz and glamour of a full PS2 title, with the graphics being pretty functional and the conversation limited to speech bubbles and cheesy comments. However, you do get a very decent game of pool, with some nifty ball physics and more options than you can shake a stick at. Your choices include 1 or 2 player games of 8-ball, 9-ball, rotation, 1 pocket and more, with the chance to alter the skill, intelligence, concentration and luck factors. Then there's Carom, a pocketless table where the object is to simply try and hit as many balls with the cue ball as possible. And this too comes with a stack of variants. And if the basic game becomes tiresome, then try your hand at the puzzle selection. Here there are 25 tables, obviously designed by a madman and requiring you to pot a certain number of balls in a certain amount of shots. It's not the most exciting game for PS2, but then pool and snooker games rarely are. And for your £15, you certainly get plenty of options and some decent pool, which you can't really complain about. Endgame takes to a world that has become trapped within its own virtual reality, complete with a plot filled with mystery, corruption and intrigue, and a feisty female lead. Is any of this sounding original to you? The gameplay closely resembles Time Crisis, putting you in control of our intrepid heroine Jade as she dives behind tables before leaping out to start the slaughter anew. But don't waste too long cowering behind the sofa, because you're against a time limit here.
graphically, it's far from great, with some terrible-looking cutscenes trying to justify Jane's continuing efforts to stay alive, and character models that look like they've already suffered a terrible accident. Fortunately, you can blow up most of the scenery, which is often something to be thankful for. All in all, it's a passable gun game, but we've heard the when AIs go bad plot before, and the game's neither big enough nor innovative enough to really inspire. Is the latest in the recent glut of tennis games to hit PS2, and is a strong contender to take on current champion Smash Court Tennis, and maybe even go on to surpass the Dreamcast's Virtua Tennis. In keeping with those two stars of console racketry, Slam Tennis has a simple control system consisting of only your basic thwack it button and the obligatory lob move. It makes for an immediately playable game, but the beauty is in the subtlety hidden beneath this facade. Your position on the court affects what type of move you perform when you press the thwack it button, and your character's personal style also affects things true to their real game. So play Tim Henman close to the net and you should stand a good chance of earning some points. And fill up your power bar with fancy plays and you'll be able to pull off a wonderfully powerful shot that's going to take considerable skill to return. The lineup consists of only a few pro racketeers, missing out a lot of the favourites. However, they each have their own style of play, and as the game progresses, you'll learn to take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses whilst playing to your strengths. Is designed to be as fun as possible, with dived players getting back to their feet quickly so as to keep the game moving, and serving being raised to an art form. Aces are tricky enough to achieve that you'll feel pleased to get one, but not so hard as to require professional training to pull one off. But it's multiplayer mode where this game really comes into its own, with 2 or 4 players crowded around a multi-tap, goading each other on and bitching about losing. You're definitely in for a good time. If you're a fan of motorcycles, then you're probably expecting the monstrous power of Honda's Fireblade to glide across your screen right now. Sorry for building up your hopes, but all that excitement ends here. The Fireblade is, after all, Honda's era-defining 900cc superbike, but this game is all about helicopters instead.
Good work, pilot. Your assigned bridges are down. Enemy deployment is stopped, and their front is cut off. Return to base area and attack hostiles before they can...
You get to pilot 2 helicopters, neither of which is called Fireblade, it's worth noting. Your main weapon is the Vendetta, a light maneuverable gunship, while your heavier backup is the Talon. Interestingly enough, the Talon has the ability to become almost transparent in stealth mode. This might sound handy enough, but enemy troops can still spot your silent running from miles off. Highly infuriating, especially when you're crouched behind a tree and poised for some serious face-to-face killing.
Rocket L1 low. Rocket out.
Barbecued enemies frequently render useful pickups, such as stealth and fresh rockets, and it all adds up to a typical arcade experience. The helicopter's handling fits the bill here too, although neither is particularly satisfying to control, and the camera will often fly off by itself, especially if you get too close to a mountain.
Rocket out.
There are 18 missions in total across some impressively disparate locations, such as deserts, jungles, icy plains, cities, and countryside, and the story even starts to bite in the preliminary training missions.
Rocket L1 low.
Although there are some entertaining touches to be found here, the number of annoyances are likely to cause an outburst of chopper rage. The tedious stealth missions, the uninspired controls, clumsy camera angles. In fact, it's best if you don't get too excited over any of this. Yes, you can destroy almost everything in sight and even shoot the legs off the tiny men if you feel the need. But for the £40 asking price, Sony's Dropship is a far better bet. If only this had been about bikes. What do top-secret government organizations, hosts of bizarre and interesting aliens, and the clever wit of Agents J and K all have in common? Well, they're all ideas that Men in Black 2 Alien Escape completely fails to capitalize on. In fact, this game fails to make use of just about anything. If you're into shooting things, then there might be some mileage in it for you. But if you like a change of scenery, some variety in your targets, or perhaps even a fair chance, then this is one shooter best left alone. The action is as basic as it gets. Shoot everything in the area. Watch as another wave of identical beasties teleports in ahead of you, or perhaps behind you, or maybe even both, and then shoot them all over again. Repeat until thoroughly bored, and then hope the door at the end explodes.
Gentlemen, this is a situation unlike anything we've faced before. An unknown number of non-registered life forms are at large, each and every one a hardened criminal. You're the best team I've got, so I'm relying on you to deal with it.
Never felt better.
To add to the variety, you can choose to play as Agent J or Agent K at the start of each level. K dishes out more damage and can take more hits, whereas J is faster, and each agent has its own arsenal of 3 weapons. That's about it. After that, you can add to the excitement by running in straight lines, circles, or even strafing. There are 5 missions in total, each lasting all of 30 minutes, and there are some hidden features that will also fail to thrill. In fact, there's not much to thrill at all. It's repetitive, short, boring, repetitive, not particularly good looking, lacking in genuine voice talent, and repetitive. You should probably just forget you saw this one, okay?
with a lot of games these days, Burnout 2 Point of Impact has been inspired by all the great movies of its genre. However, unlike many of its contemporaries, this game's managed to retain sight of the original concept, extreme driving. Without weighing it down with extraneous plots, storylines, justifications, or any other rot, this purity of vision means there's no missions, no story, but just fast cars and great fun. As you'd expect from a sequel, you get more of everything. The graphics have taken a big step forward. The lighting is beautiful, the music is pounding, and the sound effects really bring a feeling of power to these cars. There are no licensed tracks or cars in this one. Burnout 2 is all about the feel of racing, rather than any specifics. As such, you get 22 cars to play with, 7 basic vehicles, 2 of which you may recognise from the original. 7 more variants on these, tuned up to the 9s, what the Yanks would call exotics, and another 7 you'll have to unlock, including a police car and stock car. The last car is a driving ed vehicle, complete with roof bollard. But take a lesson in this car and you're not likely to be passing your test anytime soon. The tracks are much more exciting, all linked together by the interstate, but all distinct to themselves as well. You can expect to explore American-themed cities, mountains, deserts and coastline, while racing point to point or in laps. And the more reckless you are, the more awesome drifts, racing into oncoming traffic, launching off the top of hills and driving about on 2 wheels, the more your power bar increases until it finally bursts into flames. It's racing the way it was meant to be. Fast, exciting, and filled with explosive crashes.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
PS2's most sinister survival horror series opens a new chapter with Silent Hill 3. Featuring new characters, new locations, new weapons and new abominations, you'll notice that a lot has changed. But the series' trademark of stunning graphics, masterful use of sounds, and mature, sophisticated themes are all still here in abundance. The action begins in a small town, seemingly unconnected to Silent Hill. And this time, our hero isn't a middle-aged guy, but instead an ordinary young girl by the name of Heather. Heather's life begins to take a distinct turn for the worst as her world begins to fill with mysterious strangers, such as the enigmatic Claudia, along with a host of grotesque monsters and the sudden need for some heavy weapons training. Developers Konami have concluded that the town of Silent Hill has been pretty much covered in the previous 2 games, and so they're moving the action to this new setting. but keeping the traditional eerie atmosphere, complete with a swathe of dark, disturbing images that have made such a name for the series.
They have come to witness the beginning, the rebirth of paradise, despoiled by mankind.
What are you talking about?
Don't you know? Your power is needed. Remember me, and your true self as well. Also, that which you must become. The one who will lead us to paradise with blood-stained hands.
If you have the reactions to deal with the monstrous onslaught, the wit to think your way out of danger, and the raw nerve to face the horrors that stand in your way, then you might just be ready for a return to Silent Hill.
I still feel like I'm dreaming.
More like a nightmare, I'd say.
Konami's beloved 2D shooting series, Contra, returns in its latest incarnation as Contra Shattered Soldier. We'll politely ignore the ghastly 1998 PlayStation release and instead concentrate on the return to frenzied, high-powered, non-stop action that made this such a popular series in the first place. For the most part, the action remains in the traditional 2D side-scrolling style, occasionally alternating to 3D for certain events. While the 2D approach may seem dated, this sort of game never really stopped being fun. The hardware just advanced and everyone hurried to make the most of the new possibilities. But Contra remains true to its roots, with the traditional collection of power-ups and other goodies, while jumping, climbing and barreling about, shooting everything that moves with a variety of awesome weapons. With the creative talent of Ashley Wood behind it, famous for illustrating comic books such as Spawn, Aliens, X-Men and Star Wars, you can expect to see some imaginative graphics, with creatures ranging from swarming insects to aliens, robots, humongous mechs and all manner of freaky creatures. There's plenty of durability here as well, with the enemy attack patterns to be learned, multiple endings to explore, and tons of hidden levels to unearth. And once you've done all of that, then there's the fantastic two-player simultaneous mode to blast through. How much more explosive gameplay could you ask for?
Sopot City, capital of the Commonwealth. Once a flourishing metropolis, it has been decimated by war, poverty, and a brutal dictatorship. Now, an elite squad of soldiers embarks on a secret mission of vengeance, rebellion, elimination. But this mission to end a life will have untold consequences. And for one member of the squad, it is the beginning of a journey that will change everything he's come to believe. Prepare to join the fight for the liberation of the Commonwealth. Prepare to join the faction. Red Faction 2.
THQ.
Spyro the Dragon wings his way back into the limelight for more of his classic platforming action. Our cute and lovable airborne flamethrower promises improved graphics, larger levels, and a host of exciting mini-games. After the year of the Dragon Festival, the Dragonflies, the source of all dragon magic, are stolen. And it's up to Spyro and his friends to get them back, and then to find out who stole them and why. The game will be familiar to anyone who's seen Spyro in action before, but with a few new touches to keep things interesting. Joined by his allies, Sparks, Hunter, and Bianca, Spyro has some huge new levels to explore, stocked full of new characters and new storylines, as well as featuring a heap of mini-games and all shown off with some beautiful visual effects. To improve his chances, he's learned a few tricks as well. Having mastered fire breathing, this lovable lizard can now also breathe ice, lightning, and even bubbles, all of which will help him solve the various challenges and puzzles ahead. It's all here, the picturesque scenery, the clever puzzles, and the adorable scaly scamp himself. Spyro's back, hotter than ever.
Creature has been awakened that has lain dormant for millions of years. A species older than the dinosaurs and more terrifying than anything we could have imagined.
How did they go from 1 to 1 million in less than a year?
Highly evolved.
They have great vision in the day. They have even better vision at night.
Extremely intelligent.
He's playing hide and seek. More like cat and mouse.
Unbelievably powerful.
2 glands in the mouth. Secrete separate chemicals.
Combining exhalation, natural napalm.
Good luck.
Now, one one will protect them.
We have to hang on, work together.
And one will lead them.
There's nothing magical about it. They're made of flesh and blood. You take out their heart, you bring down the beast. We found out where they started. We're going to London. Vertical one up.
The plan is set.
1,600 yards, closing fast.
The arsenal has been assembled.
Get ready to rock and roll! For each other!
And they've got one chance to take back their world. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale. Reign of Fire.
John Woo's latest film is set during World War II and charts the relationship between US soldiers assigned to protect Navajo Marines during the savage Battle of Saipan.
What do we call a tank?
In May 1942, the unwritten language of Navajo was used to create a top-secret communications code. Navajo code talkers, using their native tongue, transmitted top-secret military information that helped to turn the war against Japan after their surprise attack on Pearl Harbor.
In code, Private Whitehorse. Very good.
What I'm about to tell you, Corporal, cannot leave this room. Under no circumstances can you allow your code talker to fall into enemy hands. Your mission is to protect the code at all costs. You understand me?
Yes, sir. I do.
Good.
Arizona, Arizona! It's okay, go!
The US military becomes aware of the danger to Navajo soldiers, who are targets for Japanese kidnapping, and assigns Marines played by Nicolas Cage and Christian Slater to protect them.
Target reference, Dog 1, south 700, elevation 050.
From executive producers Jet Li and Mel Gibson, featuring high-flying choreography by Tony Ching, Invincible.
I want that tablet. The clock is ticking.
The ultimate evil.
The war is almost won.
Has found a power to take over the world.
It dates older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. I've waited all my life for something like this.
But one man stands in their way.
Half a tablet is virtually impossible to read.
He will turn 4 strangers.
Could you please tell us what's going on?
Into 4 warriors, predestined to save the world.
Your team of protectors, chosen before birth to defend all life everywhere. Serena, would you show us your birthmark, please?
Trust me, I got one.
Did I mention that each one of you represents one of the 4 elements of the universe?
Air, fire, water, metal.
If I teach you how to work together and how to fight together, you're going to experience a power you cannot even fathom.
Always wanted to be part of some perverse cosmic gladiator thing anyway.
All right, you know the plan.
There's a plan?
Billy Zane, Byron Mann, Tori Kittles, Stacey Overseer, Dominic Purcell.
I've known guys like you all my life. Think you're God's gift to women.
Let the games begin.
Separate, you're nothing. Together, you're invincible.
To save mankind, they must become...
You can't win!
Invincible. From Alliance Atlantis.
Yeah, there's been an accident.
You didn't see it, did you?
See what?
What did you see?
What do you do when someone comes into your office and tells you they saw this in their backyard?
Who showed you this?
Last night, I saw something that I cannot describe.
What happened to my wife? I need to know what this is.
Do not be afraid.
Something terrible's gonna happen.
Whatever brought you there to die.
Sometimes the world of the dead gets mixed up with the world of the living.
As you can see, the housework has been rather neglected since the servants disappeared almost a week ago.
Do you mean they just vanished?
Into thin air.
How do you do, children? I'm your new nanny.
Are you going to leave us too?
Why should I leave you?
The others said they wouldn't, but they did, and then it happened. Why have you opened the curtains? It was Victor.
You told your brother that there was someone else in the room.
There was.
That'll do, Anne.
I've seen them too.
You have?
Sooner or later, she'll see them. Then everything will be different.
What do you want?
They're everywhere. They say this house is theirs.
No! Children!
Come here!
Run!
Can't you hear it? There's someone
Where is my daughter?
Are you mad? I am your daughter.
Mia Thermopolis had it all, but only in her dreams.
This is as good as it's gonna get.
Now, something's about to happen that will change everything.
You are Princess of Shinobi.
Shut up!
From the director of Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride.
I can teach you to walk, talk, sit, stand like a princess. Let the work begin.
It's a question of taste.
Tuck one ankle behind the other.
A matter of grace.
My granddaughter, Amelia.
And the chance to make all her dreams come true.
Much better.
Walt Disney Home Entertainment presents Anne Hathaway and Academy Award winner Julie Andrews.
Do you think she can do it?
I have no doubt.
The Princess Diaries.
I would like to propose a toast.
Available on Disney DVD and video.
3, 2, 1, go!
World Fantasista is Squaresoft's first attempt at a simulation of the world's most popular sport. Focusing on the 2002 World Cup, and the Japanese side in particular, they've definitely been putting some effort into the graphics, the classic trait of any Squaresoft production. Movie is first amongst the visual splendors, featuring the handiwork of the Final Fantasy production staff. Then, once you're into the game, you have a host of gorgeous, ridiculously high poly count character models, all beautifully animated and really bringing the game to life. Received special attention, unsurprisingly, and 36 players have been authentically reproduced. But if you're more interested in the other sides, then you can select between 35 different national squads in total. Or if that's not enough for you, then create your own team from scratch and try their luck in this prestigious tournament. choose to play against the computer or against a friend. Alternatively, you can even just let the computer play against itself. But with a simple control system providing such a spectacular and fluid game, the chances are you'll want to be part of it yourself. So just get in there, set up the initial groups of 32 teams in any order you like, and then play through the whole campaign. And this time you can make sure it ends the way it was supposed to end. One of Japan's more exotic gaming genres is the dating sim, and the Tokimeki Memorial series has crossed many computer formats with its determined attempts at romantic bliss. But this sequel is a dating sim with a difference. This is Girl Side. This time around, you take on the role of the girl, out to win the man of her dreams. Your choice of potential partners consists of a bunch of impossibly good-looking boys, and the lead man amongst them is Hazuki K. Unfortunately, this lad is a self-important twit with an amusingly ponderous mode of speech. Luckily, however, there are plenty of other options to choose from. Once you've picked your victim, the lucky guy who's to be the center of your attention, it's time to get to know him. This is achieved through extensive conversations with him and every other character in the game, during studying, exercising and socializing activities, as per every other dating sim you've ever seen, if you've seen any, that is. The core mechanics remain the same as in previous incarnations, providing a pretty complex simulation design, but this time you get the added bonus of shopping. That's what happens when your lead character's a girl. This shopping system allows you to go out and pick the perfect outfit and accessories with which to attract your chosen mate. Find out what sort of look he goes for and dress to impress. Get it wrong, of course, and you could end up with the wrong guy. Or worse yet, home alone, listening to Michael Bolton. And none of us wants that now, do we?
The pulse brought the nation to its knees. In the fear and weakness that followed, the military began aggressively researching new types of weapons. Weapons that would forever change humanity. I was one of those weapons. Created in a lab, raised as a soldier. Fearless and lethal. I and others like me escaped our prison, and so I live in this post-pulse world. A woman and a warrior. Trying to understand who I am and how I can belong.
It's often been said that making dance music is just a matter of pushing buttons on a computer.
It's never been this easy to mix and make your own music. Take it from me, I've travelled the world and seen all the clubs. To get there, believe me, was always a real challenge.
And now, with the help of Ejay Clubworld, it's true.
Now with Ejay Clubworld, I can check out all the clubs and all the mixes without even leaving my sofa. Acid and electro in Singapore. House in Paris. Drum and bass in London. reggae on the Virgin Islands, techno in Frankfurt, ambient in Bombay, trance in the White Island of Ibiza. You can just go there and be creative. With more than 10,000 samples to choose from, you can arrange them on tracks, mix them up, and also put some very good effects on it.
Ejay Clubworld offers plenty of scope and all the tools you could need in an easy-to-access manner, even catering for 4-player jam sessions. And if you're not in the mood to compose, then just kick it into video mode and listen to your tunes.
Ejay Clubworld, 200 mixes on only one memory card.
First, I didn't want to remake the thing because of my fondness for the original film, which I saw as a kid, and it scared the hell out of me. Universal had the rights to remake it, and so they approached me, and could we remake the thing in a different kind of way? I guess they had tried several versions, and I came up with the idea of going back to the original novella, Who Goes There, by John W. Campbell, Don Stewart. And Hawks's movie, the 1951 The Thing from Another World, had departed a great deal from that. Had gotten rid of the imitative idea, had gotten rid of a lot of that kind of material. So I decided to return to those roots and basically reinvent the whole film.
Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I was excoriated for for a lot of different reasons, but I think the biggest reason was that I showed it. You know, there's an unwritten law in Hollywood that what you don't ever do is, you don't show the devil or the monster. You have to keep it in the shadows, because that's the tasteful way. I think that comes from a really kind of cliched 1940s movie called The Bad and the Beautiful. Kirk Douglas is his producer, and he's looking at these terrible cat costumes, and he says, well, we'll keep them in the shadows, and that's the elegant way, the old-fashioned. In The Thing, we decided to bring it right out in the light and show it to you. And it was a mistake, but I think it was certainly the vision that I wanted to create.
"12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live, inside."
We basically had 3 sections of shooting. There was a pre-production unit. We went up to the Juneau ice fields. These are vast ice fields above Juneau, Alaska. And we spent 2 weeks shooting this little base. Big whole crew. Well, it was grim up there. It was grim. We shot helicopter shots, vista shots, etc., with stand-ins. And then we spent several weeks shooting on sound stages, refrigerated sound stages, and this heat wave in Los Angeles. So it'd be 104 outside and 30 some odd degrees, 40 degrees inside. So we all got cold. Then we made the trek to Stewart, British Columbia, which is a little border town. And nobody claims that the last time they had a police department there, the town burned it down and ran off the cops. So it's lawless. It's like the old frontier. And these Hollywood crew and actors come stumbling in there. We shot up on top of a glacier, and it was grim. We had to travel up every day by helicopter. The stories of survival on that shoot are pretty amazing.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
I met Kurt in 1978. We were doing a TV movie about Elvis. He played the leading part. And it was the way he approached roles, the way he saw acting, the way he saw movies. He was trained in the old Disney studio where you cut the camera if they didn't say their lines exactly right. The script supervisor would. It was an old studio training, so he was absolutely the consummate professional. And that just appealed to me. And plus the fact he's a brilliant actor. Highly underrated, brilliant actor. Well, the head ripping off the body scene, turning upside down into the spider creature, then running out the door it's funny and yet sick at the same time. I hadn't seen that before in a film. That was kind of groundbreaking. How can it be both awful and why am I laughing so hard?
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can be one of those things!
I don't know that I have gigantic fond memories of that movie. That was one of the toughest films ever to make. That was very difficult. And it was hard to, at one point in the film, it was hard to embrace the darkness of it. And my editor had to tell me one day, you gotta embrace the darkness. You gotta, that's what this movie is, that's your job. You have to. So I did. It wasn't a pleasant trip down there, but there's a little room, I think, in everybody's mind and in view of the world and universe that sometimes you don't want to spend too much time in. I had to spend a good year and a half in there.
We found something. We found something. We found something.
It would seem that the resumption of the Premiership has inspired you all to even greater heights and some pitiful lows, with the huge selection of scorchers, blinders and howlers that we've received this month. Third place is becoming a bit of a regular catastrophe, and this month's cock-up ranks pretty highly on the idiocy scale. Trying to do the safe thing and pass the ball back to the goalie direct from a throw-in, the man between the posts misjudges the flight of the ball and ends up chasing it back into his own net. Pathetic. Chris Sutimire bags the runner-up spot with an opportunistic effort from Nicholas Anelka. Did he really mean to chip the keeper, or was it just a hopeful cross that left the goalie stunned? Top of the pile is this imaginative effort from Stuart Boardman. Making a welcome change from the hundreds of Beckham free kicks we're inundated with each month, he opts for a clever chip over the wall before flicking the ball on to Rui Costa, who ices the cake with an acrobatic finish.